May 10th milestone. SpaceX sends 28 more Starlink satellites into orbit, a defining chapter in the age of global connectivity. On the serene and humid morning of Saturday, May 10th, 2025, the space coast of Florida once again bore witness to a remarkable chapter in modern space history. At exactly 2:28 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the deep silence of the predawn hours was broken by the familiar rumble of the Falcon 9 rocket's Merlin engines as it ignited and climbed into the sky, lighting up the darkness with a brilliant display of fire and precision. SpaceX, under the leadership of Elon Musk, successfully launched 28 additional Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit, LEO, from Launch Complex 40, SLC-40, at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, marking yet another stride forward in the company's relentless pursuit of its goal to deliver high-speed, low-latency internet access to every corner of the globe. This particular mission, labeled Starlink 6-91, was the second Starlink launch in less than 7 hours. Just hours earlier, another batch of Starlink satellites had been lofted into orbit from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, showcasing an extraordinary operational tempo that not only stunned aerospace enthusiasts, but also underscored SpaceX's unmatched logistical and engineering capabilities. Executing 2 orbital launches from opposite coasts of the United States in a single night is a feat that just a few years ago would have seemed implausible outside of government-run space programs. Today, it is becoming routine for SpaceX, a testament to its maturity as a commercial space juggernaut and its dominance in the global launch industry. As the Falcon 9 roared into the sky, the first stage completed its initial burn and separated cleanly. It then began its controlled descent back to Earth, executing a precise sequence of maneuvers using grid fins and onboard thrusters to guide it toward the autonomous drone ship. Just read the instructions, stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. Within 8 minutes of launch, the first stage successfully touched down, marking yet another successful recovery in SpaceX's long record of booster reusability. The landing was not only a technical success, but also a strategic one. Reusability remains a central pillar in the company's philosophy of reducing the cost of space access. Each reused booster helps SpaceX save tens of millions of dollars while gaining valuable flight heritage data, enhancing reliability over time. Adding to the historical weight of the event, this was the 250th Falcon 9 launch from the historic SLC-40 launch pad, a number symbolic of SpaceX's long and transformative presence at Cape Canaveral. From launching Dragon cargo missions to the International Space Station, ISS, to pioneering the era of commercial satellite megaconstellations, the pad has been a crucible for innovation. Its legacy is now inseparable from the story of Starlink, the sprawling global internet constellation that continues to grow in scale and ambition with each launch. Onboard the Falcon 9 were 28 Starlink V2 mini-optimized satellites. Though smaller than the full-size V2 satellites that will eventually be launched on SpaceX's Starship rocket, these V2 minis represent a critical evolutionary step. Each satellite is equipped with advanced phased array antennas capable of handling significantly more throughput than earlier generations. Their solar panels are larger and more efficient, generating the power needed to support high-speed data transmission and autonomous orbital station keeping. The V2 mini satellites also include new argon Hall effect thrusters for propulsion, a departure from earlier Krypton-based systems, enabling improved maneuverability and collision avoidance capabilities, especially vital in the crowded environment of LEO. Once deployed, the 28 satellites began the next phase of their mission, a delicate and complex series of orbital maneuvers. Using their onboard thrusters, they will slowly raise their altitude to reach their final operating orbit of approximately 530 kilometers. From there, they will enter service as part of the constantly expanding Starlink mesh network, routing packets of data across space in milliseconds. The satellites will form interlink connections, using laser communications technology to share data between themselves, reducing reliance on ground infrastructure and enabling direct, fast cross-continent data routing. This laser-linked space backbone is one of the key innovations that makes Starlink a viable competitor, not just for rural broadband, but for latency-sensitive industries such as high-frequency trading, defense, and international telecommunication. This launch brings the total number of operational Starlink satellites in orbit to more than 7,400, making it the largest satellite constellation in human history by a significant margin. In 2025 alone, SpaceX has launched more than 900 Starlink satellites, an astonishing cadence that reflects the company's high-volume satellite production at its Redmond, Washington facility, where engineers and technicians have developed a quasi-automated production line capable of turning out several satellites per day. The scale and speed of these launches have drawn comparisons to the rise of the aviation industry in the early 20th century, when mass production and iterative design transformed airplanes from fragile prototypes into a globally transformative infrastructure. But numbers alone do not tell the full story. The impact of Starlink is already being felt across the globe, in regions both developed and remote. Rural communities in Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia are gaining access to high-speed internet for the first time. Island nations vulnerable to hurricanes are using Starlink to maintain communications when undersea cables are damaged. Emergency responders in the aftermath of wildfires, floods, and earthquakes are deploying portable Starlink terminals to coordinate life-saving operations in real time. Starlink has even reached the harshest environments on Earth, with successful deployments in Antarctica, on Arctic expeditions, and aboard transoceanic shipping vessels and aircraft. And the momentum continues to build, with future generations of satellites set to be launched by the much larger and more powerful Starship launch vehicle. SpaceX plans to dramatically increase the constellation's capacity. Starship, which is nearing full operational readiness, will be capable of deploying over 100 full-size Starlink V2 satellites per launch, each offering 5 to 10 times the bandwidth capacity of the V2 Mini. The introduction of Starlink direct-to-cell service, announced in partnership with T-Mobile and other telecom providers, will enable satellites to connect directly to unmodified cell phones, opening a new frontier in mobile connectivity that could render traditional terrestrial cell towers obsolete in certain regions. The implications are enormous. A world where mobile users can stay connected even in the middle of oceans, deserts, or remote mountain passes, where autonomous vehicles and drones receive real-time updates anywhere on Earth, and where data no longer follows the arc of undersea cables and ground stations, but flows freely through a dynamic, low-latency orbital mesh. Meanwhile, SpaceX continues to navigate regulatory and geopolitical complexities, working with national governments and spectrum authorities to secure operational licenses. As of this writing, Starlink has been approved in over 70 countries, with more applications pending. Its success has prompted a wave of competing mega-constellations, including Amazon's Project Kuiper, OneWeb, and China's Guang system. Yet none match the sheer scale, speed, and technical sophistication of Starlink, a head start that may prove difficult for competitors to overcome. May 10, 2025, will be remembered not simply as another successful launch, but as a milestone in the emergence of a truly planetary communication infrastructure. It is a vivid snapshot of what the future of global connectivity looks like: swift, seamless, orbital, and available to anyone, anywhere. With every Starlink launch, the Earth becomes a little smaller, a little closer, and a little more connected. Would you like me to extend this further with commentary from SpaceX officials, global reactions, or an in-depth projection of Starlink's influence on future technologies like autonomous transport and space-based AI systems?